Okay, welcome back. So this is the third and final question from the financial planning scenarios or simulations. And here we've got the probability of a recession. So redo question 2, but now assume that the probability of a recession in year 5 is 60%. If the recession occurs, the returns on the mutual fund will be normally distributed with a mean of negative 10% and a standard deviation of 9%, while the returns of the bond fund will be normally distributed with a mean of negative 2% and a standard deviation of 3%. So the way I like to do this is I'm going to start here with my mutual funds, and I'm going to insert 2 columns. Okay, and so I'm going to call the first one year 5. I like to just call it H, or no recession, whatever you want. But these are the high returns, and then year 5 low. This is the returns that I'm going to get if I have a recession. And then what I need to do is take the average of these. So this is I'm just going to call this year 5 itself. This is going to be the weighted average of the returns from the high and the low. So the first thing I need to do, actually I don't, the year 5 high returns are already done, right? Because I'm going back to year 4, and I'm referencing the returns that I would get if there were no recession. So that's done. What I do need to do, though, is the year 5 returns if we do hit a recession. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. So if I hit a recession, I get a negative 10% with a standard deviation of 9. And then the recession is 60%, so I'm going to put the 0.6 here and a 0.4 here, although I really don't need this because, right, this is just 1 minus the 0.6. But anyway, I'll put it there. So my year 5 low returns, right, are going to be equal to the balance that I have at year 4 times the returns that I would get if I hit a recession. So norm.inverse, RAND, and then of course the mean is the negative 0.1 and the standard deviation is the 0.9. And then I better put in my parentheses or it'll honk at me. Whoa. It's got to go at the end. There we go. Hit OK. OK. Now I'm done. But now I need to do some anchoring. So I want to keep the 8 the same. Since I'm just going to copy this down, I just need to put an anchor here and here. All right? And then the year 5 weighted average returns are this return times the probability that that's likely to occur. Well, that was the 0.4 plus the low returns times the probability that I would get those returns. That's the 0.6. So let me show you that formula. And of course I hit the wrong cell. There's the formula. So I take the returns that I would get if we weren't in a recession times the probability of not being in a recession times plus the returns that I get if I am in a recession times the probability of being in a recession. And then I need to do a little bit of anchoring. I need to anchor those probabilities. So I'll do that here. And then I need to do my year 6 returns, right? Because my year 6 returns referenced now the returns I would get if there was no recession. I need the year 6 returns to reference the weighted average of the year 5 returns. So instead of F, what you can do is just move this to H. And I'm done. And now what I can do is copy these down. So I'll hit copy. Ooh, that did not work out well at all. Guess I have to do it the old-fashioned way. Page down until I get to 1,000. And 7. And then hit paste. And there. Now I'm done. Right, because now year 6 is properly linked to the right year 5 return. And then, of course, I don't need to do anything here for the rest of the years, right? Because year 7 is linked to year 6, which is linked to the right year 5, and blah, 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 blah. And then these year 5s are all linked to the appropriate year 4. And then, of course, nothing here changed, so I'm done. So there are my mutual fund returns. Notice I don't have to change anything on the withdrawals because that's not being affected. So I can leave all this alone. But then I need to get here to the bond fund returns and, of course, do the same thing. Okay, so this will be year 5 high, year 5, year 5 low, and then, of course, this is my weighted average, year 5. Okay, so there's nothing I need to do here, right? Because same thing as before, right? This is all referencing all the proper stuff. It's the year 5 low that I need to reference. And I better put in my data here. For the bond fund, so the mean is going to be a negative 0.02 and a standard deviation 0.03. And this was 60%, right? This is the probability of being in a recession. So I'll just put the 60% there. So in year 5 low, the returns I would get if we were in a recession would be the ending balance in year 4 times 1 plus norm dot inverse RAND open close parentheses, the mean negative 0.02, the standard deviation 0.03. Don't hit OK. Close the parentheses and then hit OK. And since I'm just going to be copying this down, I'm going to put an anchor here and here. And then my year 5 weighted average return is going to be the year 5 returns if there is no recession times the probability of not being in a recession. Well, that's just 1 minus the probability of being in a recession plus the year 5, the returns I would get if there is a recession times the probability of being in a recession. And there you go. Right? So you don't need to put like the point like I did before. You don't need to put the 0.4 up there because either you're in a recession or you're not. And so the probability, if the probability of being in a recession is 0.6, then by definition the probability of not being in a recession is 0.4. So I can just do the 1 minus. All right? And now that that's done, all I have to do is do some anchoring. And I want to anchor my probabilities. And since I'm copying this down, I just need to anchor the 1s. There we go. That's all taken care of. And then the last thing, again, I need to do is update the year 6 balance. The year 6 balance has to be based off of the weighted average of the year 5. So just move that over, hit enter, and I'm done. Now that I've got everything anchored properly, I can copy this and this. Well, not copy that, but paste it. So I got to do 1007. Oh, not even close. Oh, that was better. Okay, paste. And there we go. So here are the bond fund returns. I don't have to screw around with the bond fund withdrawals because that did not change. But now I have to redo this stuff, right? And this is going to be a little bit tricky. Well, it's not tricky. I take that back. Year 1, 2, and 3, years 1, 2, 3, 4 do not change. But however, the year 5 does change. So the year 5 now is going to be equal to, okay, the weighted average returns from the mutual fund minus the withdrawals, mutual fund withdrawals in year 5, plus the weighted average returns from the bond fund minus the withdrawals from the bond fund. And there you go. And then the year 6 at 7 and 8 is not going to change. And to see that, just double click this and then just move through. Right, so I've got the year 6 withdrawals. That's AR8, that's a minus. Good. Year 6 returns, good. Year 6 withdrawals, good. Year 6 returns, good. So that's all I have to do. Let me hit enter. So the point being is all I have to do is update the year 5 for the total funds. And then I need to copy this down. So I'll copy, and then I'm going to do the shift and down technique. Paste. And there you go. And none of this stuff is going to change. And again, to see that, just double click and scroll over. Right, I'm still linked to year 10 withdrawal, year 10 return, year 10 withdrawal, year 10 return. Okay, presto. I have confidence now that everything's done. So now all I have to do is check this. And see, this is the beautiful thing. Like whenever you insert a row, see, Excel is smart enough to move all of those cells over one. So like here, even though I insert all those rows, I'm still taking the average of the year 10, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So nothing there. I don't have to do anything there. And then negative, the number of negative balances, it's the same thing, right? I'm highlighted my total funds at the end of year 10, and then nothing changes there. And by gosh, nothing changes here either. So presto, you're done. So even with the recession, the mean ending balance is about 1.5 million, right? No negative balances in this scenario, so the probability of running out of money is 0. And presto, you are done with this week's homework. That's it.